The true biography of Felix Manalo is a good, written and created by your humble servant, Jerry Cajelon. Just call me Tatang JC. Thank you very much. Before I proceed, my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please don't forget to like, share my videos, and subscribe also to my YouTube channel so you can easily follow through on my next significant manifestations or testimonies. Thank you very much. Part 13 of the biography of Felix Manalo is a good. A very large portion of the brethren in the cult society or false church called Iglesia ni Cristo, founded by Sir Felix Y. Manalo and registered on July 27, 1914, had gone away. That was due primarily to re-registration of it by Sir Felix Y. Manalo into a sole corporation in order for him to acquire full ownership. This was also due to many changes and additions of strange teachings and doctrines made within, just like the following. First, by changing the original teaching of the inherent divine characteristics of Son of God, the Lord Jesus Christ, down to an ordinary kind of man. Second, by amplifying the thoughts of Sir Felix Y. Manalo about himself being an angel and a divine messenger of God. Third, whereby Sir Felix Y. Manalo wrongfully claiming himself being the so-called bird of prey in accordance with the prophecy contained in the book of prophet Isaiah. Moreover, the revelations of many serious immoralities and corruptions in the church treasury committed by Sir Felix Y. Manalo, which came about, caused many members to cool off in faith and to resign. In the provinces of Bulacan and Nueva Ecija, almost 9 out of 10, or 90% of all the members came along or have joined the newly established church of Mr. Teofilo de Ora in 1922. Its name, Iglesia Verdadera de Cristo, or the True Church of Christ, Incorporated. This first occurrence of schism or dissension within the cult and false Iglesia ni Cristo, Incorporation of Sir Felix Manalo, consequently becoming a heavy burden and a serious blow or acute setback on him. In the quest of Sir Felix Y. Manalo to regain the trust of those who knew what had happened and to make the most of remaining loyal members reinforce their faith on him, he intensified the creepy, hair-raising, and outrageous teachings of proclaiming himself for being an angel or messenger of God. He therefore cleverly and forcibly aligned his teachings with the Bible prophecies. One of the prophecies he had stolen from the Holy Scriptures in order to justify his teachings and his cult church emergence was the fulfillment per se of the prophecy made by Apostle John in his book of Revelations. This was about the outbreak of First World War, the sign per se of exact time for the emergence of Sir Felix Y. Manalo's cult and false church in the Philippines. In his cunning intellect, Sir Felix Y. Manalo considerably knew that for the people living at this time to accept him as a divine angel or messenger of God, as well as his church to be acknowledged as the only true church, he therefore needed to present himself and his church together with biblical revelations. Henceforth, he searched for and simply picked those prophecies in the Holy Bible relative to his motives and intentions. Thereby, he claimed or aligned them with significant events which have developed or likewise were developing in his time. For example, is the First World War. He used this historic event in his teachings to give credence in the establishment of his own cult and false church. He also took over the position for being the so-called bird of prey in the pronouncement of Prophet Isaiah, so that he may be accepted as a divine angel or messenger of God. These twisted and crooked thoughts or teachings were absolutely called outrageousness by others, and while others nevertheless called it an everlasting truth. Many of our fellow countrymen, especially the ordinary people at that time, were easily deceived and persuaded by Sir Felix Y. Manalo. Well, because they were in a manner blinded by him from the truth, which means they lacked sufficient knowledge of the Holy Bible and for being deprived from it by the Spanish priests for many years. The whole world just came out from the dreadful epidemic caused by the Spanish flu or influenza in 1918, henceforth killed thousands of human lives and caused serious economic sufferings to the whole world. Therefore, it's worth considering that most of our countrymen were focused primarily on their immediate livelihood, yet they cannot have much understanding about the details of the First World War. Added to this was the absence of a better understanding about the true person of the so-called bird of prey being portrayed in the Holy Scriptures. Nevertheless, this significant world conflict was very important to Sir Felix Y. Manalo in his handy manner of merely connecting it with prophecies he had picked from the Bible. So he took great advantage of the ignorance about it by many of our countrymen for his selfish interests, whereby he can maintain or preserve the faith on him and his cult church he had established in the inner minds of the public. Likewise, this is the manner by which he was able to blind altogether his members or followers until this time. This First World War is not just an ordinary fight between one country and another country, because many countries were seriously affected by and involved. When this war ended or had passed, it never came by easily among our ordinary fellow countrymen's understanding of it, especially during the time of preaching by Sir Felix Y. Manalo. During those days, almost all of our Filipino countrymen were just starting to have free access in reading and becoming aware of what transpired, as well as the developing events outside our country. Simply, our people or countrymen then were not fully or totally knowledgeable of international circumstances and occurrences in the past or even their present time. Henceforth, it's easy for a clever person like Sir Felix Y. Manalo to prey on them, they who especially were so thirsty of understanding about the beliefs in God. Again, the events and circumstances surrounding this significant war were very important for Sir Felix Y. Manalo in order to enhance his religious image and selfish interest, and whereby to counter the schism and imperfections in his cult and false church. This is in fact still ongoing today. And why? Well, knowing the past incidents and history will surely answer this question. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen and acquaintances, I am now presenting this message to you in goodness sake, and so as for you to completely decide the truthfulness or falsity about the connection of this world war to the cult Iglesia ni Cristo, INCorporation, established by Sir Felix Y. Manalo. For just the meantime, let us set aside the biography of Sir Felix Y. Manalo. Instead, with my utmost knowledge, I will relate in here and in simplest way the complete account of the First World War. Hopefully, in the end, may the most out of you truly understand the deepest cunning sight of Sir Felix Y. Manalo and may fully fill with true answers these important questions. What is the connection of First World War with the church established by Sir Felix Y. Manalo? Is the prophetic claim of Sir Felix in the founding of his church truly appropriate, based on the prophecy of Apostle John in his Revelations? Again, my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen and acquaintances, it is really needed for many of us to understand the fullness of this first war in order to correctly answer these questions stated above, isn't it? Of course, the only correct answers may come from those who have the knowledge and understanding of the complete chronicle of events. Likewise, to those who are here and following my exposition about Sir Felix Y. Manalo, you may decide if, and so, is this a fabrication or simply a product of his evil or cunning sight? Or is this a deliberate outrage coming from his own vested interests? Or is this from the truth, which must be proclaimed with all honesty, according to the Holy Scriptures? To help you understand and decide the appropriateness, I made this really short, but with the best accuracy I could. The First World War, the short and simple history. At the time and setting of the subject we're talking about, a treaty and cooperation existed between two powerful countries, Austria and Hungary, in Central Europe. This was called the Austria-Hungarian Empire, and it was formally established on March 30, 1867. The form of government by these two countries is called a dual monarchy. This means the two separate governments are united by a single form of governing principle, and it's called the throne of the monarchy. The powerful country of Austria is composed of and has authority over the smaller member countries of Czechoslovakia, Italy, Poland, and Ukraine. Also, the powerful country of Hungary is composed of and has authority over the smaller member countries of Serbia, Croatia, Slovakia, Herzegovina, and Romania. Again, at the same time and setting up the historic topic we're talking about, the whole world is divided into two powerful alliances of nations in Europe. The first alliance is known as the Triple Alliance and is made up by three member countries of the Austria-Hungary Empire, Italy, and Germany. The second alliance is known as the Triple Entente and is made up by three member countries of France, Russia, and Great Britain. At the outset of the war, America stands in between or as neutral, while Italy sided with Germany, but later on in the war it switched sides. Most of these larger countries or nations were very greedy of power, self-centered, and had voracious desires to expand their wealth and territories. Henceforth, everyone had developed jealousy among each other by taking over others' lands, people, and resources. Ultimately, some have created bigger and powerful armies at their disposal to satisfy their selfish greed. One of the countries subject to the monarchy of Austria-Hungary Empire, called Serbia, desired for independence and wanted to separate or establish a separate government from the monarchy, along with another country of Herzegovina. However, this was immediately and strictly forbidden or rejected by the monarchy of Austria-Hungary Empire, and even how much Serbia had insisted and begged for it. Subsequently, this was followed by a plot cooked up by militant groups in Serbia to assassinate the crowning heir of the monarchy. Then, on June 28, 1914, at exactly 11:15 in the morning, a Slavic citizen named Gavrilo Princip ambushed Francis Ferdinand, the future heir of monarch crown in the Austria-Hungary Empire, including his wife Sophie, in Sarajevo. This was ordered by the son of Emperor or Archduke of Serbia, Colonel Dragutin Dimitrijevic. This incident made the monarchy seriously angered to Serbia and thereby planned in whatever possible means to totally crush any desire for its independence. The powerful country of Russia promised to help and defend Serbia in its own right to fight for independence, whatever the resulting conflict may happen. On the other hand, the powerful country of Germany guaranteed without reservation to support the monarchy of Austria-Hungary Empire. Then in July 23, 1914, the country of Austria sent a final warning to Serbia, wherein Austria demanded Serbia to deliberately cease any desire for independence at once and without any condition in order to avoid its total destruction. But Serbia didn't waver and instead ignored the warning and prepared for the outcome by expanding and strengthening its own military. Eventually, in July 28, 1914, the monarchy of Austria-Hungary Empire declared war against Serbia. In a short statement, since this day and on, the First World War broke out. At the outset of the war, the primary countries involved were Germany and Italy siding with the monarchy of Austria-Hungary Empire. On the other side with Serbia were Russia, France, and Britain. The conflict became worldwide later when many other countries having treaties and military ties with countries primarily involved have joined the fighting. Those countries who joined the fighting, for example, Bulgaria, and many other countries occupied by the Ottoman Kingdom or Turkish Empire, sided with the monarchy of the Austria-Hungary Empire under the leadership of Germany. Henceforth, examples of other countries who joined other side with Serbia: Belgium, America, Montenegro, and Japan, all under the leadership of Russia, France, Britain, and later joined by Italy. In the end, on November 11, 1918, Germany formally surrendered or gave up the war, and all the fighting stopped. The First World War, or World War I, formally ended on June 28, 1919, with the signing of an accord or peace treaty. The delegation from selected countries of the world signed the so-called Treaty of Versailles in France. Along with this is the mutual agreement of powerful countries to form and establish the so-called League of Nations to promote and maintain world peace. This World Peace Organization or treaty was first proposed by Sir Woodrow Wilson, the President of America, who is a devout Presbyterian. He is one of the so-called Big Four, or Council of Four, who mutually agreed and called for world peace. And they were George Clemenceau of France, who is an atheist or doesn't believe in any God; David Lloyd George of United Kingdom, who is a Protestant; and Vittorio Orlando of Italy, who is a Catholic, if per se. They were the four angels of the Lord being referred to by Sir Felix Y. Manalo, and whereby connecting them with the prophecy of Apostle John in his Revelations chapter 7 verses 1 to 3, then with due respect anyway, they are not members of the cult Iglesia ni Cristo, INCorporation. And why? Well, every one of them has a different faith or belief, and in fact, they were members of the faiths rejected by Sir Felix Y. Manalo. To my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please stay tuned for the upcoming Part 14 of the biography of Sir Felix Manalo Isagun in my next presentation on the Internet of the cyber world. Again, to my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please don't forget to like, share my videos, and subscribe also to my YouTube channel so you can easily follow through on my next significant manifestations or testimonies. Thank you very much.